Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining our social media advertising session here as part of our e-commerce and digital marketing mentoring program for MSME and freelancers. And our topic for today, we're going to focus on social media advertising, and we're going to touch on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, considered as one of the popular, three of the most popular social media channels in the country where you can advertise. Although, of course, Instagram is also popular, but you can also advertise to Instagram using platforms like Facebook, no, for that purpose. So these are the things that we're gonna focus on. And then if you have questions at any point, please don't hesitate to post your questions in our questions box, and we're gonna answer them as soon as possible. So we're gonna start the topic on Facebook, and we're gonna talk about three ways that you can advertise on Facebook, or three purposes. The first one is for building brand awareness. The second one is for generating online sales. And then the third one will be for lead generation. And then we will touch on Twitter, and we're also going to touch on LinkedIn. Now, of course, we only have an hour for this webinar session. So we're going to observe, no, if we will have ample time, then we're going to touch lead generation. But in case our time falls short, then we will limit the topic na lang to the two, and then we'll immediately focus on LinkedIn and Twitter. Now, we're touching on Facebook because we know naman na Facebook is one of the most popular social media channels where you can reach out to your target market. And it is a powerful platform in building your brand awareness, especially if you are a new business. For MSMEs, it's quite a challenge to get the word out. Like when I was in Cagayan de Oro last week, this past week, I was able to meet entrepreneurs who have their own products like slurs, chicharon, and then I met also an entrepreneur whose business is called Bite Me Up, and then they have this special cookies and chips that are really, really nice. But of course, to get the word out, build the identity, and let as many people know about the products and services can be a challenge. And in fact, when you look at websites like marketa.ph, shoplocal.ph, you will see a lot of local goods made in the Philippines, and some of them are of really great quality. If you're a foodie and you really love trying out local delicacies, those are sites to check out and buy stuff. Like recently, I bought sa Alaya 5 types of high-end tea, no, through marketa.ph, and I really love it. But I realize it's really a challenge to build your brand. You can do a lot of stuff organically, but you really need to invest in terms of your content and the amount of effort that you do in getting the word out. And sometimes when you need to ramp up faster, then that's where you need to further invest. Now, normally when we talk about social media advertising, we want to our purpose is to be able to reach out to our target market. And in the inbound marketing methodology or the buyer's journey, they often pass through stages, as we refer to them as awareness, consideration, and decision. In the awareness stage, you want people know that your business exists. You want to be able to communicate that you are a player in that specific category, that you are knowledgeable, that you have a lot of educational information to share, that you can be a trustworthy resource, no? And then in the consideration phase, um, that's where you want to share what makes you special, what makes you different, and you want to be able to influence them also through the words of other people who might be sharing their experience insofar as your products and services are concerned. And then in the conversion point, hopefully, if your efforts for awareness and consideration will work, then it may lead to conversion where these people might want to try your product out and eventually become your customer. So it's a challenge. More often than not, for a lot of MSMEs and for a lot of freelancers, we often focus on conversion. We just want to make people buy and avail of our products and services. But in reality, you have to start with awareness, because even no matter how good you think you are, people don't really care unless they can feel that you care. And one way that you care is that you, sabi nga nila no one has the right to be in business. I heard that quote somewhere before. So you have to prove why you have the right to be in business and why people should trust you. So awareness fills in that requirement. No, um, you really invest in a lot of that. For example, if we say that e-commerce and digital marketing is our expertise, anyone can claim that e-commerce and digital marketing is their expertise. Creating awareness is an ongoing process. Even if you are an old player, you have to continuously invest in awareness. Like in our case, we started in 1999. We have one of the biggest websites, I believe, insofar as content in e-commerce and digital marketing is concerned. But yet here we are, we're constantly investing in awareness because the market keeps on changing, the market keeps on growing. So for MSMEs and for freelancers, it's something that you have to continuously invest on, and letting people know that you're there, that you can be trusted, that you care about others and your intention to add value to others. And that will make your business relevant to others. So, one way of creating awareness is to advertise. Because if you're going to rely on your natural network, especially if your network is quite small or you have targets that you want to achieve much sooner than later, then maybe you want to explore advertising, and that's the reason why you are in this session. But before you start, remember that you need to set up these elements before advertising, especially if you're going to use platforms like Facebook. First, of course, you need to have your Facebook page, properly set up your URL so that it can be easy to remember. Complete as much information as far as your pages are concerned, like your about information, your contact us details. You have a nice header that is relevant to your target market. You have a well represented profile picture or image for your page, and you have a clear call to action insofar as your site is concerned. Also, when driving people to your page, di ba, we often receive invitation from people to like their pages, and more often than not, it is disappointing when people ask you to like a page, and when you go to that page, there's hardly any content. And then you ask, oh, you have no content in your page. How come you're inviting me? And then the person will answer, my page is still new. That's why I'm inviting you, because I want to build following. You don't just build following through connections. You have to build following through your content. So you want to make sure that when you advertise and you're able to attract people to go to your page, they will see more content on that page. It's like more than what meets the eye, as they say. If advertising will give a purview of what your page is all about, then when they get to your page, they have to see more, no? So creative assets, you need to invest in them, and make sure that whatever you post, you will be able to communicate your unique selling proposition, what makes you different from your competition, and make sure that your content is written in insofar as for your target market uh, is concerned. And if you're ready to advertise, then you can proceed. Um, then then you can proceed. Then you can go to your Facebook. And and how many of you have advertised on Facebook before? How many of you have advertised on Facebook before? If you have advertised on Facebook before, can you please press the raise your hand button? Okay, there's Irene. How about the others? Hi, Mike. My gosh, Mike is here. Hi, Mike Abundo. Okay. And then we also have Florence. Okay. Of course, if you've and then Margaret has also advertised before. Okay. So if you've advertised on Facebook before, when you go to your ads manager, you'll be able to see something like this. And then you can create an ad and then you proceed. Now, if your intention, now normally when you advertise on Facebook right now, you will see that the ads are presented this way. It will ask you what is your intention. Are you doing this for awareness, for consideration, or for conversion? So it's following the traditional marketing funnel or the buyer's journey or the inbound methodology, depending on what process do you subscribe to. Are you trying to generate awareness or letting people know that you exist or getting them to do something, which is consideration, or getting them to um, proceed to a purchase or more concrete action on your website, and that's why you're advertising, no? Now, for if your intention is to create brand awareness, then your campaign objectives would normally zoom in on any of the three. Now, normally for increasing brand awareness, we usually try to highlight a specific post, and that is often referred to as boost your post. Boost your post can happen on the page level when you're looking at the post and then you decide to boost it, or you can do a brand awareness campaign, or if you have a video you can also get more people to view your videos. So these are all elements for creating brand awareness. Now, the challenging thing about running any advertising campaign is you can achieve a hit or miss with your audience. If you even if you have a nice ad, but if you target the wrong audience or you were not able to set this up properly, you will end up wasting a lot of money. However, of course, if you're doing this for the first time and you are experimenting, then it's normal that you experiment a bit and you check out your results like maybe in 2 to 3 days. And if you're not getting the traction that you are hoping to get, then that's the time that you might need to calibrate your audience or look at your ad material and see if the ad material is the problem itself, no, or the copy. So there are many elements that can influence your success insofar as your advertising efforts are concerned. Now, what makes Facebook different from platforms like Twitter and LinkedIn is the way that you can target the people that you want to deal with. Usually, for as a default, especially for first-time advertisers on platforms like Facebook, you might use the core audience where you do targeting, and Facebook is known for having one of the high accuracy levels insofar as core audiences are concerned because it's tied into the profile of people who are on Facebook. However, if you have a large page following, especially if they've been well targeted, or you publish a lot of high quality video content, that is meant for a targeted audience, then you can also use custom audiences. And from custom audiences, you'll be able to generate lookalike audiences that you can serve as an expanded base for people that you want to target. So let's talk about this further. For core audiences, normally you want to be able to find people based on demographics, location, interests, and behaviors. No, and then from there, you'll be able to identify a set of people. And then you can also um, decide what gadgets they're using, especially if you are targeting mobile users. Or if they have affinity to specific brands, you can also target those types of people as well. So targeting can be diverse. You can also focus on demographics, relationship status of people. Especially, are you targeting people who are about to get married, or maybe people who have college education, or people who are actively in relationship or not. You can also target interests. Interest can be the professions that they are in, connected to specific employers, or people who have specific job positions, or people who have an interest in that specific category. You can also target people based on behavior, like are they traveling, do they purchase, and you can also target people who have been to a particular location or who are living in a particular location or both. And you can also do targeting based on people who have liked your page, or people who have liked your page and their friends, or if you have an event page, it can be people who have engage with your event, or people who haven't engaged with your event. So you can be playful in this aspect. That's why it is very important that you study this, and before running any campaign, that you really discern the kind of audience that you want to target, so that you don't get confused with all of these settings. Although you can calibrate your advertising campaign on a regular basis and make changes here. But that can also be stressful because you're not really sure whether you're doing it right or not, or you're overreacting when calibrating your campaigns. Maybe you're calibrating it too soon as well. So proper planning is key. And then if you're experimenting, maybe you can do a 3-day campaign or a 1-week campaign for observation, and then you keep on tweaking from there. That's the best way that you can learn. But also, please factor in that there's also what we refer to as ad fatigue. If, as a brand, if they keep seeing your advertisements, sooner or later they might also tune out to the content that you are publishing through the Facebook platform in the form of advertising. Some may appreciate the follow up, but some, the more ads that they see from you, the more they might start treating it as spam. So be very careful also with your targeting and the frequency of your advertising, especially if you are repetitive in publishing that type of content. If you're going to target a specific segment on a regular basis, then in order to avoid ad fatigue, then the more you have to be creative with your content, and perhaps target it as a series form, so that the intention is that each campaign would draw a stronger affinity to your brand, rather than masuya siya. Yan mo yung masuya ka, parang magsawa na siya na makita ka na ng makita lagi, no? I hope you're getting my drift. Now, when looking at the Facebook ad campaign settings, normally for locations, you can target people who have been to that location, whether they live there or they have been there, or you can only target people who live there. So it depends on the requirement. Normally, you would want to target people who live there if you are running a campaign where you require people to visit a particular location, or you require people to visit a particular event. Then it makes sense that you target people who live there. You might want to target people who have been there if your intention is to get these people to go back to that place, or they have certain influences or certain affinity to certain categories or interests that you feel that these people might be able to refer other people in the process. For age, you can calibrate depending on the age targeting that you have in mind. But please remember that when people claim to be 18 on Facebook, they're not necessarily 18. A lot of young people who join Facebook put the age of 18 so that they can join Facebook. Although there's only a small segment who have duplicate accounts. But for those who have duplicate accounts, typically default ages are often selected. And usually it's the youngest age, no, that is allowed on the platform. Gender, you can target both men and women, or you can target a specific segment only. And you can also put in the language. Now, normally for the Philippines, we usually type in Filipino. I think you can also type in Bisaya. or Cebuano. I think I'm not so sure whether it's Bisaya or Cebuano. And then of course the typical American English, no. So you normally would want to take advantage of you normally would want to define that, and then you can also do some suggestion. You can also do detailed targeting either on demographics, interests, behaviors, and categories. Now that is the default targeting. Um, if you rely on default targeting, then you're gonna focus on the Facebook will show you, okay, these are the people on the platform that will fit this targeting. Now, another way of doing it, and normally if you are an advanced user of the platform, you want to be able to start with the existing data that you have. Existing data can be a database that you may have, or people who have access to your content. So you have your data, your customer relationship management data, and other intent data. And then you upload this and check this on Facebook. And what you want to be able to achieve is be able to come up with a database of more or less people um, who are on the platform, and make this as a custom audience. That means depending on the size of your database, then you can say that if this database is big, like for example it's 500,000 or 1 million, then it's like telling Facebook that, hey, when I run my campaign, I want to be able to target these people who are on the platform. So that's the idea there, no? Um, okay, I'm having Normally with this graphic, I'm having problems with my with running this slide. No, hold on. So with your match targets, you'll be able to see people who are on Facebook. So creating custom audience can take place in many ways. The first one is you want to be able to upload a customer file, like I indicated earlier. So you can import from your MailChimp, or you can upload a specific file, or copy paste your data. So usually this can be in the form of email addresses, and in the past, I believe you can also do it with mobile numbers. And I think it's still the same, no? You can either do email addresses and mobile numbers. Or another way to do it is you want to be able to create a list of people who have visited your website or specific websites. However, to be able to take advantage of website traffic, you must have installed the Facebook Pixel on your website, no? And we discussed this in one of our earlier sessions on social media presence, and on our session on e-commerce site creation. So if you were able to put that pixel on your website, then you can create an audience asking Facebook that anyone who has visited your website will be put in a custom audience. Or instead of anyone who visits your website, it can be people who have visited specific website, because normally Facebook will give you only one pixel. So if you have multiple websites, then it is important that when you create your audience, you have to be able to identify specific websites, the specific website where you want to create that audience. So, for example, if I have e-commerce bootcamp, I have Digital Filipino Certified, I have influencer bootcamp, I have digitalfilipino.com, I have janettoral.com, and I have installed all the pixel in all of these websites. Then what I would do is I will create a website traffic only targeting people who have visited, let's say, for example, ecommercebootcamp.digitalfilipino.com. And you can also create audiences based on engagement on Facebook. For engagement, then you're talking about people who have seen your video, or people who have filled up a lead ad, and we're going to talk about that later, or people who have watched or who have opened and viewed your canvas. As I indicated before in our social media presence discussion, one of the posts that you can do on Facebook is Canvas, which is like a mini site. However, it can only be viewed on mobile. But if you have created that and a lot of people took a look at it, then you can create a custom audience of people who have viewed it. The same also for your videos. If you have uploaded videos, then you can say only those people who have watched that video, and you'll be able to create a custom audience. If this custom audience is big, like maybe it's in six figures, like 500,000 and above, then you're well and good. Then that means you can do advertising and target that 500,000 and start narrowing down from there. However, if your custom audience figure is quite small, like maybe you only have 100,000 or maybe 50,000 or 2,000, 5,000, whatever that number is, it's not going to be enough if you're going to target it for advertising. Then that's where lookalike audiences will come in. With lookalike audience, you'll be able to find new customers that are based on your existing customers. So let's say you've created a custom audience of people who have visited a specific page on your website or people who have watched your video. So once that custom audience is created, you can ask Facebook to create a lookalike audience based on that custom audience. And the moment that custom audience gets created, then you can start targeting them and it will be more strategic because these are people who have matched the profile of people who have engaged with your content. Therefore, the higher probability that these people might also take an interest to whatever content you have to offer. So, lookalike audiences can be people you know, people uh, similar to the profiles of the people you know, similar to the profiles of people who have visited your website, similar to the profile of people who have used your mobile app, or similar to the profile of people um, who have been who signed up as a fan or as a follower of your social media pages on Facebook. I remember having one instance where I spoke in a direct selling company, and one of their products is a milk that is actually targeted for it's a high-end milk. It's quite an expensive milk, and the way they market it, it's for children with special conditions. It's like they're trying to niche to that market, no? And during the discussion, when I was doing my presentation, people were telling me that they're having a hard time advertising on Facebook, since there's nothing in the core audience targeting where you can indicate that you're looking for parents who have children with special needs. So I told them that very rare would you find parents talk about having a family member or a child with special needs, because more often than not these things are very private. It's something that is only discussed internally and only few are open enough to really share it on social media. So what I suggested to them instead is to create pages. That's one, where you can discuss concerns of people with special children and educate them about it. Also create a blog and write articles about special needs, add the Facebook pixel there, and create custom audiences from people who have visited that website. And after creating that custom audience, then you can transform that to lookalike audiences. Then there's a higher possibility that you might be able to find similar profile people um, in that method. No? So there are many sources for creating lookalike audiences, like people who have liked your page, people who have visited specific pages on your website, especially if you put them in targeted pages like purchase confirmation page or a thank you page or a special landing page where people have to sign up. You can also target people who have seen your video for more than 10 seconds. You know, we post videos on Facebook. Sometimes you don't know whether you're getting the right views or not. Like if you just scroll on it and maybe look at the video for 4 seconds, does that count as a view? And some people would say, yeah, usually that counts. But for in the creation of a lookalike audience, um, especially if you're creating from lookalike audience, normally what would only count are people who have seen your video for more than 10 seconds. Okay? People who have interacted with your Canvas ad and people who have expressed interest through your lead ads. So to create your lookalike audience, earlier we created a custom audience. After the custom audience is created, and this time you can now create a lookalike audience, no? Or if you have already created a lookalike audience, then you can identify them. Now, in the creation of a lookalike audience, you need to identify your source, which can be the custom audience that you have set up earlier, and you will identify that here, the country that you wish to target, and then the audience size. Now, normally, the audience size that you would want to choose is the default 1%, because then if there are 64 million people on Facebook, then that means Facebook will generate a lookalike audience of more than 640,000 people, no, that fits that are similar to your custom audience that you have identified. Of course, the smaller that base is, there's a lot of probability of inaccuracies here and there, but more or less, at least you're having something that is more targeted. I think you want to be able to start with something that with 600,000 of targeted audience that are highly similar to the profile of people that you have in your custom audience, rather than just do a core audience targeting of 2 million people, and it can still be a hit or miss. So that is why I always like running ads directed at custom audience and lookalike audience, because the probability of hitting the right people will be higher, especially if your input data is highly accurate to begin with. Because remember, garbage in is garbage out. So if your custom data is garbage, like maybe you grab it from somewhere, or somebody sold you a CSV file of people with mobile numbers, then that's garbage in, you know. But if it will come from verifiable sources, authentic sources, like from people who have visited your website, but strategic pages on your website, or people who have watched your videos for more than 10 seconds and hopefully really took an interest in it, then there's a higher possibility that the accuracy of your lookalike audience will be higher or will be better. Now, once you've resolved your targeting and the basic information where you want to target your campaign, you need to decide also the placement options that you have. You can be on the desktop feed, you can be on the mobile feed, and of course, you can also advertise on Instagram. No, so these are still strategic placements, although a lot of people now really surf social media from the mobile, but you cannot discount the desktop platform, because a lot of people are still using it, and not just mobile alone. So you choose where do you want to place your ads. You can do automatic placements, and where they're likely to perform best, or you can also edit placements and identify where you want it to appear. So normally, you want to be able to appear on all devices. You want to be able to appear on the feed. I don't think the right column is as popular as it used to be, but some people still place their um, ads on the right column. And then you also have Instagram. Um, the challenge though when running Instagram ads is that if your ads are meant to drive people on your website, that's where it can be a bit challenging, because people are so used with in, Instagram, using Instagram for purposes of viewing photos only. So the moment the ad has other forms of actions, people by default may not necessarily do any action, because they by default they know Instagram is more for viewing photos only. So I'm not really that um, um, that active on using Instagram. And also remember that when you advertise on platforms like Facebook, you also need to set your budget, your schedule, and other options. So you can either identify a lifetime budget or you can identify a daily budget. How often do you want what is the schedule of your ad? When do you want it to start and when do you want it to end? The time schedule. And then you can also optimize your ad delivery for this intention. It's going to be more for brand awareness, meaning letting people know that you exist. So usually it can be a cool video or a cool infographic. So it's more of letting people know that, hey, we're here. um, Check us out or follow our page, or hey, we're here to serve you, or hey, we have something interesting and we want to share it to you. And you get charged by per thousand of impressions. Okay, so it's not on clicks, but it's more on the number of people who get to see your ad. And of course, the moment you set that up, that's half of the challenge. The next challenge will be getting those eyeballs. Getting them attracted to you, to what you just published on social media. So you need to choose the right ad formats that will be able to steer the interest of your audience. So you can either go for carousel, single image, single video, or slideshow. Okay, so before I answer that, there is a question here from Paulo. Hi, Paulo. Thank you for the question. Paulo, where are you from? The question is, if you create a custom audience and run a marketing ad, does it also hit the audience based on the website traffic or source of the custom audience? Okay, I'm not sure if I got this question correctly. But Paulo, from my understanding, if you create a custom audience, and let's assume that that custom audience is large enough to the point that Facebook said that, okay, you have a large enough audience that you can run on it. If the custom audience was generated based on website traffic, then yes, um, it's gonna hit on people who have visited your website because your custom audience was generated based on people who have visited your website. That means that you have the Facebook pixel on your website that helped generated that data. No, so that's where custom audience can be very helpful. You target them because these are people who have visited your website. And they are also useful because not everyone who visits our website follow our pages. Not everyone who visits our website sign up to our mailing list. So that is why you want to target this. And normally, if this is your purpose, you might want to do it more often because not everybody does a repeat visit. Not a big percentage does a repeat visit. So you want to do this because uh, especially if you're doing this every 2 weeks or every week, then at least it's a follow-up reminder for people that, hey, you check us out before. You might want to check us out again because we have something that is very interesting, and hey, we have something here that can be useful to you. And hopefully you visit us again. No, all right. So when choosing your ad formats, there's a lot of variety to choose from. A lot of people tend to, it depends, no? If you are a product website, you might want to check out the carousel ad. Carousel ads are interesting because each image in the carousel can be a different site. So, like in this example, if we're showing a carousel of images featuring various eyewear, then that means that every frame is a different model. Then every frame can be linked to the website where that frame is located. So at least you have one ad and then you are featuring several products. So it also makes you efficient in a sense. So that's where carousel can be interesting. Of course, if you will apply this to services, like in my case, if I am marketing different courses, then what I will likely do is that each image would be referring to a specific course, maybe logos or something that if they click on it, it will point to the page where that specific course is, depending on the image that got clicked upon. So Carousel intends to show variety, and if you have products showing different variety, then it can be cool. Like maybe you're selling tea. Let's say you have seven variants of tea, then each image can focus on a specific variant, and when people click on that variant, then it will bring them to the page where that variant can be found. No? So that's one way of doing it. You can also use single image ads to brand visually. Although by default, I must admit that I really like single image ads more, especially if you wanna connect some form of a personality or put some personality to your ad. I like using images of people but usually of extreme emotions, like maybe they are crying, or maybe they have a headache, or they're so happy, or they're so shocked. I like using ads like that because I still believe that by default people like looking on pictures of people on Facebook. So normally whatever product or service I'm using, I'm more into using images of people, connecting to their emotion and attracting the attention of people because of that emotion. Another way to do it is that you can also run video ads on Facebook. So when we talk about video ads, then this can be when people move into it, then the video will run. No? And then you can also use slideshow to create a sequence of looping images. Slideshows can be very helpful as well because not everyone are keen on playing video, especially if bandwidth is not reliable. Therefore, using slideshow where a looping image will be created in the process might also be interesting. So that means that you need to plan your photo placements, and in the process, this should be able to create a slideshow, no, in the process. All right. So the moment you start running your ads, please make sure that you measure them. So and monitor the conversions and make sure to be able to optimize your results. So normally when running a brand awareness campaign, one of the things that you check out is reach, meaning how many people were you able to reach through your ad. Impressions can be people who have seen your ad, but reach can be people who really really stop by and check out what you have just published. And then you can also monitor frequency, like how often have people seen your ad. So for follow through purposes. For video, then get video views. Then you might want to check out reach and how many of them ended up viewing the video and arrive at the cost from there. So usually video ads are one of the more affordable ways of reaching out people. All right. So that is how we will do it insofar as brand awareness is concerned. Now, another way, one of the reasons why you also want to advertise on Facebook is you want to be able to drive website sales or you want to be able to generate leads. And there are many options to consider when advertising on Facebook as a platform. Now, since we're short of time, we're now going to focus on other platforms, and one of them is Twitter. Twitter also has a high following in the Philippines because especially since a lot of celebrities and television programs and news topics get highly discussed on this platform. So usually whatever is the trending topic for today, I mean, if you just want to know what people are talking about, what people are interested in, you see a lot of them on Twitter through trending topics. So it's a good platform to reach out to. to reach out to audiences. Before, I used to belittle Twitter, but I myself actually became a customer of one platform because I kept seeing their ad on Twitter and I converted to Twitter. So I cannot underestimate the platform anymore. The mere fact that I signed up for a big subscription purchase because I kept seeing the ad on Twitter. So meaning you can be strategic about it, especially if you were able to target the right audience. So if you want to run ads on Twitter, you go to ads.twitter.com, and then you can do an awareness ad where you may want to reach out to people, as many as possible, to see your tweet. You can also use Twitter to build an engaged audience, get followers, or get them to see more of your video views, or maximize the engagement of your tweets, or you want people to visit and take an action on your website. So if you want people to visit your website, it's the same process. You name your campaign, you name the amount, and then so let's say we will call this the uh, and then I will set a daily budget. I can use standard, that means spread out or accelerated, complete it as fast as possible. And then for a daily budget, let's say I'm gonna set a daily. Let's see if it's gonna accept $5, or is it anong minimum niya? Okay, it accepts $5. Tingnan natin kung tatanggap siya ng $1. Okay. And then you can start immediately, or you can set a start or end date. So let's say our start date, instead of today, we're gonna start on Monday. And then instead of 12 a.m., maybe we want to start our campaign at 6 a.m. All right. And then I'm going to send an end date. So let's say we're just going to run this campaign up to Friday. And we're going to end our campaign at 7:30 p.m. All right. So, and then next. Now, if my campaign, I can I can look for organic tweets that I may want to promote, or I can create a tweet that um, that I really want to push for this purpose. So that's one way of doing it. No, so if I will create a tweet, then it will be a promoted only tweet. No, so let's say so for the sake of become, so we're creating this ad. Okay, so this is an example. Or I could say, join the e-commerce and digital marketing mentoring program for MSMEs. Free. Uh, so this is another example. And then I'm going to click on tweet. All right. So I hope that will appear here now. So let's refresh this. Okay, continue. Okay, where your promoted tweets appear. So I'm not sure where my promoted tweet is now. Okay, let me let me restart my campaign. Let me check if the tweet that I created appeared, just to make sure. Of course, it did not appear there. So let's see what happened to the tweet that I created. If that's in the campaign area already. Okay, not yet. So I think ina-approve pa yata siya, no? So if I create a campaign, I'll say start over, and then so let's go for the tweet engagement. Okay. Mukhang napunta siya dun sa ano, kasi 'di ba naglagay din ako ng start and end date. So let's try this again. And then I'll identify again as tomorrow. And then my end time will be on the 23rd. My start time will be at 6 a.m. and my end time will be at 7:30. So let's see if my here. So this is my promoted only tweet that I created earlier. So sorry, nandito pala siya kanina. Dapat pinili ko lang siya. And then I'm gonna click on it. So I selected a promoted only tweet. And then I'm gonna click on next. And I'm gonna apply some targeting or use one or more save audiences. So I can create a save audience or, okay. So let's say kung nakagawa na ba tayo. Okay, we don't have a custom audience yet. So if I don't have a custom audience yet, then I need to create a custom audience, audience manager. So sabi niya, I have too small of an audience. So maybe what I would do, okay, so either I upload my list or make a tag to collect website visitors. So similar to the Facebook pixel, I can also make a tag or I can build a flexible audience. So pag flexible audience, that means I have to add certain conditions. So I think that's gonna make our campaign a bit more complicated. But at this time, since wala tayong ganon, so we go for our promoted only tweet, and then we can select demographics, and then we can also search them by location. So let's say we're targeting the Philippines, and then maybe we can also target them by platform, by carrier. So mukhang hindi naman ako bias insofar as that area is concerned. Then I can also insert keywords or follower lookalikes, no? So if I'm gonna go for follower lookalike, then pwede ako mag-add ng mga profiles. So for example, tama ba? Subukan lang natin kung lalabas to. Let's see. Add criteria. Nawala yung follower lookalike. Nalilito na ako sa kanya. Hold on. So, you can insert multiple keywords or follower lookalike. Okay, so naglagay tayo ng follower lookalike. And then I can also define other follower lookalikes that I want. So here you can, if you have identified mga players na gusto mo na yun ang makakakita, then pwede. So let's say, ano ba yung Rappler? So let's say gusto ko si Rappler.com, yung followers ni Rappler.com. Then I will go back to my plot here and then I will put in Rappler.com. No? So that can be another criteria. So that is if I am interested with follower lookalikes. No? So another way of doing it is I can also focus on keywords. So if keywords naman siya, then I could say anyone who has typed something on e-commerce. Then I can also say, so pag ganyan, pwede kong tanggalin na to. Kung hindi na ako mag-person base, pwedeng someone who has talk about digital marketing. And then, ito pa rin yung follower lookalike natin kanina. So let's say, pwede rin akong pwede rin akong tumingin ng recommendations. Okay? So, may mga recommendations siyang binibigay sa akin. So, from the recommendations, I can choose, no? Para kung sino pa yung mga pwede kong i-add. Pero kung ayaw kong gumamit ng recommendations, I can turn it off. No? And then other options can include followers of Digital Filipino can also see the content for as long as they fit yung taga-Philippines sila. I can also identify age ranges. So let's say I am interested with 25 and up. Kasi medyo mahal yung program. So pwede kong pwede kong ilagay na ganyan. Alright? And then we can set a total ad group budget or mag-add ng bid. So optional naman siya. So I can go for automatic bid or maximum bid. Okay. So pwede ako maglagay. So sabi dito, bidding higher helps you display more often. You never pay for more than what you bid. And you'd usually pay less. So yan daw kung gagamitin ko yung maximum bid. Or mag-automatic bid ako. So pag automatic bid, it depends on what is the best option. And there are also additional options. So pwede ako mag-add ng audience measurement tag. If I will choose this, then dapat ko itong ilagay sa website ko. No? So mukhang hindi yata available yun. No? It depends siguro kung ano yung gagamitin ko. And then click on next. So ayan na siya. Naglagay na ako ng campaign budget. Mukhang tatanggapin pala niya yung $1 per day. And then, what do I call this ad? And then, my targeting criteria. So, yan na siya. Ito yung itsura ng ad. Alright? So, kung ito yung gagamitin ko, so that means I'm gonna spend like, ilang araw ba tong ad ko? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. $6. Or 300 pesos. So, if that is good, then pwede ko na siyang i-launch yung campaign. So, that is how you run a simple Twitter campaign. Now, for LinkedIn, you can also run a campaign. Now, normally you would select the account. Yun nga lang, mukhang kailangan ko mag-edit ng billing because I haven't run a campaign for quite some time. But let's say we're gonna run a campaign. So, ganun din. Do you want to promote your content with native advertising or drive traffic from the website or targeted messages? So, it depends on the content that you have in mind. So, kapag sponsored content, I'm not so sure kung tatawag papaya. Already have a company or showcase page. So, meron akong showcase. Yeah. So I have a showcase page. And then, okay, naka US dollars tayo. And then, I'll save this. Okay, so now I need to name my campaign. So I can send people to my website or I can collect leads, meaning people who will fill up the lead generation form. So let's say I will do a certified campaign, and then I'm gonna click on next. So I have existing content, but in this case, this content is not updated anymore. So I'm gonna create a sponsored content. All right. So ito ngayon yung sponsored content. Anong sabi niya? For your eyes only. Okay. So this is the content. And enter in your landing page URL and add your introductory text here. So I'll add our landing page URL. All right. And then maglalagay tayo ng introductory text. So sabihin natin, join this self-paced 11 modules program. 11 module program. Where you can get certified through your project showcase. Use your projects as case study. Okay, so pag kinukulang ka na sa words, dito ka na nagka-cut down. Okay. So, mahaba pa rin. So, bawasan natin siya. Alright. So, let's say ganyan siya, no? Ito na yung post. So, kung okay na siya, pwede ko siyang i-save. Yan na yung campaign. Alright? So, let's say ito yung gagamitin nating content. And then, I'm gonna click on next. Okay. Well, I need to edit this again. Sorry. So, dapat siguro i-edit ko siya. Kasi napansin nyo, sinuggest kasi kanina na i-add yung URL. Kaya lang, parang hindi maganda yung itsura na naka-add na yung URL. I'll see if I can still edit this. Pero kung hindi ko na siya may edit, then I have to fix this, no? But anyway, just in case na ganyan siya kunwari, then I'm gonna click on next. Tapos, ayan na siya. No? So, kailangan kong gumawa ng form. So, I'll create a form template. So, So, papansin nyo, kung tutusin, advanced naman si LinkedIn, no? And normally, you might want to advertise on LinkedIn, especially if you're targeting professionals, right? So, fill up the form to receive more information about the certified e-commerce specialist, entrepreneur, and professional program. So, ganyan siya, no? So, since I still have 34 words, um, and then meron akong link sa aking privacy policy. So, I just need to get my privacy policy. Ayun, digitalfilipino.com/privacy. So, ililink ko lang yung aking privacy policy. Where are we? So, ito na siya. Oh, so this is the problem. So, baka hindi ako makapag-run ng ad. Okay. Um, your data will only be used to send information about the program. We will not contact you for anything else afterwards. Okay, so yun yung commitment to privacy. So if this is okay, o kulang pa. Ah, alright. So kung okay na yan, so if you notice, we only got the email, first name, and last name. And then if you want to get more information, we can. No? So for example, I'm interested in knowing the city of the person and country. And then maybe I would like to get this person's phone number. That's it. No? I might want to get more information, but normally the more information you get from a person, the more intimidated they get. So usually you don't want to do that. No? Um, so I can also add a custom question. So a custom question can be, na siguro wag na lang, baka maka-intimidate pa siya sa pag-fill up ng form. So if this is okay now, I'm gonna click on next. And then I'm just gonna create a thank you message. So thank you for sending your details. Please expect to receive the information within 24 hours. All right, and then I'm gonna add a link to the website. So learn more. And then if I am okay with this, I'm gonna save it. So that's it. And then if I'm ready to run the campaign, I'm gonna click on next. So I just need to identify people, no? So I can use a match audience. So create a target audience based on your recent website visitors. Um, However, I need to put a code on my website to be able to do that. Or I can also upload a list of people. So, para meron siya nung kagaya sa Facebook na a custom audience or lookalike audience. Or I can also start targeting people below. So let's say if I will start targeting people, then I could start with people who live in the Philippines. And then I can also target specific, yan. Pwede na ako mag-ano rito. If I'm targeting people who are working, kung anong posisyon nila, field of study, saan sila nag-aaral. So actually, ang maganda sa LinkedIn, kapag talagang meron kang gustong targetin, then at least mas ano ka, no? You're starting with a database of 6.1 million. And then from there, you can start narrowing down, no? So, pwede kang mag-identify kung sino talaga yung parang tamang match for you, no? So, for example, if I am looking for someone with a who calls himself as a business owner, or maybe who calls himself as an entrepreneur, or maybe who might be using the word small business. Yeah. Assuming I want to target entrepreneurs, diba? So that's one way. Another way that I can target people is on their age. So since I'm not really, so I'm gonna target 25 to 54. And then maybe I can also identify skills if I wanted to. So it depends, no, how detailed do I want to get. Now, if you notice, based on what I identified, I suddenly narrowed down my audience. This is to 6,000 people. Now, normally, if you have a limited budget, that can be strategic. Pero my problem in this approach is that it's very shotgun. It can be a hit or miss. Ideally, I should get this instead. Yung mag-retarget ako ng visitor. So, if I decide not to advertise muna, and gagawa ko ng ano, targeting, then maybe that would be much more better for me. So, halimbawa, kung yun ang pipiliin kong option, I'm gonna click on save. Then it's gonna give me a tag. And then I'd be better off adding this to my site. So I'll just go to my Insta page and add this to my site. Para put it there, and then maybe I'll start running the ad, and then maybe a week or two, then that's the time I'll start running the ad. That way, I'm gonna have a more targeted audience. So I would suggest that would be the way to do it, rather than yung ganito na. Although this can also work, but if you have limited resource, you're really gambling a lot of your money here. But if you want to be more targeted, you're better off by starting putting the pixel, let it run, and then do your campaign maybe after a week or two, so that you can be more optimized with your targeting. All right. So thank you very much for joining our session for today, and I hope you learned something with our discussion on social media advertising using platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And we're now open for questions, and you can type your questions using the questions box. And if you want to watch our previous topics, no, in this series, in the e-commerce and digital marketing mentoring program for MSMEs and freelancer, you can check out our site on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, I encourage you to do so. Thank you again.